Hey guys, Minnesota Magic here. Just got back from the unstable draft for F&M that I had no idea that my store was holding, but I kind of hoped. I was like, hey, if they're running it, I'll do it. That'll be cool. Like, I really want to run Kid Ramper because it's been really unlucky the first couple times I played it, but it's been kind of warming up and working now. Now, I'm not big on drafting, but this is supposed to be like a fun, silly set and everything, and it's kind of like, oh, let's all just have fun and who cares who wins? I'll tell you who cares who wins. Me. Like, I'm not some, like, absolute have to win. If I don't win, I'm going to be depressed for the rest of the day because my entire self-esteem is built off of winning a card game, but I'm just competitive. I am hyper-competitive. I honestly, if I had enough money to throw away on this like BuzzFeed did in that video, I would go have my testosterone levels tested because I'm thinking it's into the 4 digits. Like normal for a normal human is like 600, I think. I gotta be double that, at least. I like violence, explosions, and competitive sports. Oh, and guns, but that's kind of explosions too. Oh, and weapons, and fighting. So I don't care what I'm doing or who I'm doing it with, I'm going to win. You know, I'm at least going to put in an effort. Like I'm not going to get mad if I don't win, but you know, to an extent, I'll be disappointed with myself in the result briefly if I don't win. And honestly, whether I win or lose the game, if my deck just pulled 5 lands in a row, but then I pulled off the win, I'm still pissed because I want to, like, play Magic, you know what I mean? So I'm like the vast majority of players where I'll get more frustrated at the game than the result. So honestly, something this utterly silly where we're just messing around and cards are, like, purposely unfair and stuff. There's, like, infinite power and all this. It's just like, you just play to have fun with situations. And honestly, that's the way I play Standard. Like, if some outrageously hilarious situation happened, like, one guy, he swung at me, actually, no, it was a female. She swung at me with a renowned up 10-10, and I hit it with Dazzling Reflection, so I gained 10 life and she hit for 0. And then did it again the next turn, and then Celestial flared it on the 3rd swing. So she gave me 20 life points, and then I made her sack it. And we were just laughing. I mean, I blew her out 2-0 in like 10 minutes, but it was hilarious. Like, we both had fun because the situation was just like, oh my God, I cannot believe you did that. And let me just tell you, I mean, when we had people standing around, they're like, I need your hands for a second. And everybody's like, I know what this is. Oh, and by the way, people who didn't read the cards ahead of time are like, what is he talking about? Why? I hope he doesn't ask me because he's not getting my hands without a thorough explanation. But we had like multiple people sitting there with their little hand puppet little tokens, and we're all like, hey, if you come over here right now, I'll give you a free, you know, gift card for pizza or whatever. And they're like, no, my job is to be a hand token. And I swear, if we asked one of those staff members at the shop one more damn time if they like squirrels, the answer was going to be piss off. I mean, it's round 3 and they're still like, I freaking love squirrels, stop asking. So it was much more entertaining, but I gotta say, I mean, from what I've read on the unglued and unhinged cards, this was more of like normal play. And like, I kind of like that. I looked at it, I'm like, this is like fair. I mean, like in Infinity Elemental, like whatever, but some of this OP stuff, it's just OP for the sake of being OP, but it costs like an equivalent amount of mana, or there's some kind of catch to it or something. But honestly, like the mechanics played like real mechanics. I mean, the whole, you know, what do you call it? Ratchet and Sprocket and Assemble thing. I just played it. I don't remember. Contraptions and ratcheting. And sprockets. Actually, I wasn't that far off. That could be a real thing. Augment, that is a real thing. It's called Meld. So it was kind of fun, but kind of like a normal match. And you were trying to build a powerful deck and win because we did have prize support. It was, you know, like boosters from standard sets on the line. So everything was great, right? Not really. The augment mechanic is unplayable. It's just absolutely dead on arrival garbage. It is so not reliable and so susceptible to removal via force fighting, ambush, boost, you know, direct damage, whatever. Guess what I built? White, blue, augment, because that's what the first couple packs were. And once you pull from the first couple packs, you pretty much have to go with it. If you change your mind on color or strategy, you lost a lot of cards. And especially the problem with drafting this one is contraptions. Because if you draft a couple contraptions, just like, you know, 4 or 5 or whatever, really hyper powerful ones, or you get stuck with a couple on the tail end of the draft, first of all, you got to put in ways to assemble it. And those cards aren't very competitive, honestly, usually. And then also, you have now taken cards out of your main deck. So I was actually only able to kick out, I think, 3 or maybe 4 cards, and then that's it. I had to fill it with lands and play it. So knowing that ahead of time and knowing the math of it, because I think I drafted like 7 contraptions because I kept getting these hyper powerful ones, but white-blue doesn't have a lot of ways to assemble them, so that didn't work very well. I think only 3 or 4 of my cards had that. So it was difficult to draft, unforgiving, and everybody kept reading the heck out of the cards because they were so complicated. You had to really think. I mean, I obviously studied them ahead of time because I had to, because I made videos on them. But some people were taking a while, and I get it. Don't just be like, oh, I've read this too long. Oh, I feel pressured. Let's pass it. After a certain point, do that, but not, 60 seconds, 2 minutes. Nah, just read the cards and make the right decision because you got to play with them for the next couple hours. So it was slow, annoying, unforgiving, and drafting 2 decks at a time was just annoying. And then trying to get some semblance of a working deck was bad. I mean, there was maybe one person there that I would say that had a very good, tight central strategy where it just worked. And he is actually known to be quite good at drafts. And of course, I'm known to be terrible at it. But it was nothing but augment and hosts. And I think it was 8, 9. So it was most of my deck. And then almost the entirety of the rest was control. And almost all that was removal. So I thought, okay, I only need 1 assembled creature with a moderately good attack. I mean, just think about it. If I have 5 attack, I swing 4 times, I win. And then I just got to keep everything out of the way that's too big by removing it. And then force them to block with anything remaining until I win. And 2 of mine were the hummingbird ones, so it's flying anyway. I had a lot of control and boost and combat related contraptions too, so it was a pretty good deck. It's just augment doesn't work. It's too sensitive. I mean, any kind of removal they do, they get a 2-for-1 special and take out 2 of your cards. Now, augment creatures with the recurring triggers can really get out of control quick, but then you almost feel like it's too dangerous to use them in combat, but they're also really big, so I don't know, it just didn't seem to work. I mean, even the other guy I was playing in the 3rd round had an augment deck, and he wasn't thrilled with the way it was working. Oh, and he was running 13 augments and 13 hosts, and almost nothing else. 0 contraptions, nothing, just straight 100% mechanic. Now, if that was a tribal deck, if he did that with Merfolk in a draft, boom, you're good, hello. So one of the major mechanics of the set was basically dead, and then in a draft, I mean, somebody has to pull it, so somebody's either going to be dumb enough to pull it and then lose with it, or everybody in the the last 4 picks or something is going to get stuck with a host or an augment and then just have to auto kick it out of their deck basically, or just run a host with no augment and just it just doesn't work. And you can't run 3 and 3 because they'll never see each other. So honestly, that mechanic was bad. I think they just did it for the joke of it and stuff, but it just was so hard to win with it. Now, removal early creature rush and flood, that played around the point defenses, and that's what tended to win. So the gimmicky stupid stuff high-fiving people and all that, and one guy licked his hand and was high-five, and they're no, and he's oh, I got left hanging, and then I forgot what that card does, you get some kind of bonus or something. That was clever. That was actually very clever. I mean, there is strategy involved in this set. So, I mean, like I said, if there's real money on the line, and, well, real prizes, I mean, yeah, they're really, packs worth $3.99, but still, I mean, I'm playing to win just because, I didn't just draft cute cards and running 5 colors for the meme of it. I built a deck that's supposed to do well. As funny as the set is, I mean, you're still, why are you playing if you don't care who wins? I mean, then roll the dice, oh, look, I won, and then let your opponent go first. You wouldn't do that. At a certain point, you have to actually kind of compete. And that's why this was so crazy. I mean, what they needed was some just, idiotic win conditions or something that were, outrageous. And more, I'd say physical challenges, but then, oh, they'd be ableist. They're so ableist, you guys. Although, honestly, they were disableist with that whole glasses thing. So the playability and the fairness wasn't really there, but you could say that they weren't really trying to do that. But honestly, with the cards I was looking at, they kind of were trying to make it highly playable. I mean, it's hard to say that they weren't. I mean, you could be silly and playable at the same time. So I did moderately good. I mean, a little bit below average on the win-loss ratio between the rounds, but I won quite a few matches. I mean, my deck was powerful, and the strategy that I used did work sometimes, but when it backfired bad. I mean, almost every match I lost because I'm sitting there holding 4 augments in my hand with nothing to put them on. I think that either a red-green die roll or a red anything contraption assembly heavy deck with 12 contraptions would have been the ideal one. Especially with low cost, red rush creatures and ongoing damage triggers, that one that's basically the Eidolon. Those seem to do really, really well too. So if you have to go to a draft and you want to win, go for that. So overall, I mean, I had fun, but you can only have so much fun when your deck's entire mechanic is broken and I don't like draft in the first place. So, you know, if you really, really focus on not caring who wins, I mean, I guess it could be fun, but it's like, like I said, whether you win or lose, you want your deck to work. Like, you don't want to, oh, look, another card I can't play. Like, that's frustrating for anybody. Even if you end up winning, you're not going to be in a good mood. So my review of Unstable is pretty mixed, I gotta say. Oh, and by the way, one person pulled like a hyper expensive foil land, so we all congratulated him, gave him a little round of applause. But I don't think I'll necessarily be doing more than maybe one more if I hear about it. That's about it. Also, by the way, I've seen the sales numbers and some of the prices. They're actually going up on a lot of the major vendors, even on eBay. So, and the couple cards that I sold went pretty quick. Obviously, my order was like nothing. It was a couple $100. But I think because of that, because everybody shied away from it, and all the single sellers are like, singles? What singles? There are no singles in this set. It's lands. And like Urza's Head, that's like $11. But yeah, it's working. I mean, even in bulk, even on these, you know, secretive Facebook groups where they all use, you know, fake WPNs and over order and sell to each other secretly on the down low, and you know, they sell to resellers even though that's part of the WPN program. You're not allowed to do that. It's basically the Magic social media black market. And there's multiple groups and they're very big. Even in those where people are like, oh, yeah, I'll sell you a box for $88, we'll illegally send the money on PayPal with friends and family, which is, by the way, how you avoid the fees. Even there, you can't get the damn lands for below like $225. So people are just, they're not going to open a box and not make their like $80 back on the lands. They're just not. And from what I've seen, basically, I've just seen a lot of sold out signs on certain websites. So if this is print to demand, they're going to go down eventually, but it's looking like this is just going to go up. Just over the next month, day to day, the prices are going to go up. So get every single full art land that you can. Also, they're absolutely beautiful, and I want a million of them, but I can't even afford to keep the ones that I opened, obviously, since they're most of the value. So that sucks. You know that story, that the Greek dude, the myth, where he, like, every time he bends down, like, there's water up to his ankles, but every time he bends down, the water recedes, so he can't drink it, and he's really thirsty, and he's stuck that way for eternity? That's Unstable. So let me know if you guys had a riot, if you had a bunch of fun, if good times were to be had at your drafts if you went to them. Or if after hearing this review, you're still interested in drafting, or if you know, you have a different draft strategy, or you got really crazy with high fives or something. I'd love to hear Unstable stories because they probably sound pretty awesome. So, also watch for my Urza's Head video. I'm going to try and make that. I still do not know what it says because I guess nobody drafted it. Honestly, I think nobody opened one. I think that was it. I mean, I would have grabbed it just for the money. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.